All right, so here I am knee deep in the Tiburon, swapping out the clutch, and I have the first need to use my new boroscope or whatever you want to call it. These are pretty nice. This one only cost about 50 bucks on Amazon, and it allowed me to see the throwout bearing there. It wasn't quite engaging the way it was supposed to. So I had to wiggle it around and get it to lock in correctly. So now, I can see that it's properly working. And we're good to go there. So that's pretty nice. All right, so that was an operation. That took a little too long to get the Tiburon out of here, but we got her done, and it looks like a bomb exploded in here. But let's go and have a little bit of fun while we got you for a few more minutes here on the channel. So let's just grab the clutch, do a quick little post-mortem, and then we can take a little look at the fiber optic camera guy, because I think it's pretty neat that we kind of took a look at something that wasn't quite working on the Crossfire, on the Tiburon. Anyways, let's go grab that clutch. All right, so let's take a look at our clutch. You can see this is a multi-segment. This was kind of Kevlar based. We do have a little bit of pad that you can see there, a little bit there, you know, not too much. There was still more grippy surface. Kind of what I figured the reason it wasn't gripping anymore is there's this little ear on the arm that hits the bell housing on the transmission, if you can call them bell housings anymore. But anyways, it hits the transmission and stops anything from moving. So most likely it was just maybe a couple sixteenths not as deep as what the stock was. So I mean, that could hypothetically lose you a little bit of throw on that. So yeah, and add to that, kind of here, we got a pretty decent lip going on there. I mean, that's at least a 32nd, if not approaching a 16th. I mean, we're starting to wear down on the screw heads, so that's a little something. It's a little more worn on one side than the other, but it is starting to wear the heads of the screws all around. So it wore relatively evenly. So that's kind of nice. This guy, we can bolt on a new friction surface for this guy, and we can put this thing back into service at some point. Our pressure plate, little bit of wear, nothing major, no real hot spots, so we didn't send her to the moon or anything. So I mean, all in all, it seems like it was just a worn out clutch. I mean, this throwout bearing, I don't kind of like how it is cracking and such. That's kind of dummy-dum, but honestly that's not a surface that has a large amount of pressure on it. But yeah, that's pretty much the clutch. Basically, it looks like it was worn evenly. It just wore out sooner than I was expecting, but it did have 30,000 miles of in-town driving, and only in-town driving. I actually, since replacing that, I never actually left town and got on any interstate or too many highways even. We kind of took the wife's vehicle, so yeah. Anyways, I gotta go clean my hands off something before we start pushing some buttons. All right, back to our cheap little guy here. It actually came in pretty handy, as you saw there. Just getting a look at what the clutch was doing, making sure it was actuating properly, so then I didn't have to worry about it being slightly funky. So before we do that, the Tiburon did need a couple modifications. Probably should have measured the flywheel and the pressure plate and how far from the flange of the engine to the throwout bearing. Should have measured that just to see if it's the same as this, because that one is a little bit thicker than this one was. So that made me have to run a new rod from the slave cylinder. So that kind of sucked because that was not expected and probably shouldn't be expected. So I don't know if something's slightly bent in there or what the heck's going on, but hey, it's working, it's shifting. The other thing that I did is I found my bushing for the forward and back of the shifter on the transmission side. That bushing was completely toast, and since can't really find anything like that just laying around in this part of the world, I pretty much just found a bushing on the shelf from a sway bar end link thing, and I just hogged the two together, smashed her in, and Bob's your uncle, we're ready to fly. So that makes the shifter a lot nicer. But anyways, let's get to this guy. It is super cheap, but in the end, it is a camera. So that's kind of nice. Let's see, we go. And there you have it. Next up on Driveway, we get to be more of an idiot. Anyways, this setup, you can run either camera and light out the end, or pressing and holding a button, you can get the light and the camera out the side. So that will be super handy, especially with an engine. You can set down, look at the top of the piston with that side, and then with the side light, you can twist it around and take a look all around inside the cylinder. So that comes in handy there. Also, if you're using it as kind of a device, maybe at your own repair shop, you do have the take a picture. So photo saved, press and hold. Now we get video going. So yeah, that's kind of neat. Then of course you can just set up your resolutions, do your playback, all that type of stuff. So that's pretty neat. Now what I think might be fun is go take a look at the Hemi engine that I got in the back corner, kind of see what I got. All right, so on the Hemi, got NGK iridiums, whatever. But what we're here is to see what we can figure out with our little monitor. Now, since it's going to be really difficult to see everything on the screen, I'm just going to record one of the native videos and we can kind of see where we're going. I really wish they would have made it with a shorter bundle of wire for kind of us people that don't want to send it down like a drain or something. But whatever. So we'll just go shoot her down the hole here. See what we can find. Well, kind of seeing a piston. Nothing really abnormal in there. That's pretty nice. Let's see if we can switch on the fly to the other. We cannot switch on the fly, so we'll switch to the side camera. We can take a look at our bores, and that's looking pretty nice in there. I mean, don't necessarily see any problems whatsoever. We got cross hatching. All right, anyways, so as you can see, this is a pretty good diagnostic tool. It's even good for those that like to do pull it yourself parts. You can go scope out a engine out in the field and kind of see if you need to hit it with the rebuild before you really wanted to. That Hemi looks like it's a pretty good candidate for what we're doing. We'll tackle it along with this 4.6 over here, and we'll get moving on some of these other projects. And we also need to get to the prototype, but I have to do a bunch of cleaning in this place to get our tabletops cleared off so we can get some fabrication and some carbon fiber. So that's going to be fun. So make sure you're subscribed and got that notification on so you can see whatever else we're working in my garage or even in my driveway. Anyways, thanks for stopping by and watching. Hopefully, we'll see you again later.